Hello, guys. Hope you had a good spring break. Something different for this worksheet. We're going to be working with factorial. So, definition is that if you have a factorial symbol, which looks like an exclamation mark, but it's called a factorial, you keep on multiplying starting with the first number that's given, and then you keep on subtracting one more each time until you get to 1. So, for example, if I say 5 factorial, you start with 5 and you keep multiplying one less each time. So 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, which if you multiply it out is 120. And if you have operations like pluses or divided by or anything else, you just treat it like order of operation, multiplying, dividing first, and then adding and subtracting. So if you have 3 factorial plus 3 factorial is the same as 2 times, because you have 2 of those, 3 factorial. So that's 2 times 3 times 2 times 1, which is 12. Okay, so for example, I guess I'll do number 3. Number 3, you have 3 factorial plus 4 factorial. There's no simple way to do it. Just multiply 3 times 2 times 1. And then plus 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. Okay, so you multiply first. And then you add. So 3 times 2 is 6. 6 times 1, times 1 doesn't really matter. And then 4 times 3 times 2 happens to be 24. So if you add them up, that turns out to be 30. Okay. When you get to something like number 5, you don't want to multiply 100 factorial. So you have got to look for some faster way. So 100 factorial is 100 times 99 times 98 times 97. It keeps going. And then we do have a fraction bar. That's good because if you have a 98 factorial, that's 98 times 97 times 96 times 95 times 90, all the way up to 1. So what happens with the fraction bar is that if you have a multiplication sign, you can reduce. You could divide it by 98 on top and bottom, and that will cancel out. So those 97 will cancel out, 96 will cancel out. So everything up to 1 will cancel out. Okay, so what you end up with is just 100 times 99. And everything else after that, 98, it just gets crossed out. So it's just 9,900 is the answer. Okay, number 8. Every year I get people who doesn't get it. So you leave the top 3 factorial. I mean, you could just do 3 times 2 times 1. That's not big deal, right? But I'm gonna leave it. And in the bottom, you have 3 factorial plus 3 factorial plus 3 factorial. That's 3 of the 3 factorial. So if you have like x plus x plus x, that's 3x, right? So this is the same as 3 factorial, but you have 3 of those, so you times it by 3. So what happens is this cancels out, and you have 3 factorial, which is 6, divided by 3, which is 2. Okay, you could multiply it out and make sure they get the answer 2 somehow. Okay, next one is called a permutation and combination. Definition is right there. Yeah, I should point it out. So this is a definition of permutation, and this is a definition for combination. Okay, it's using factorials. Don't worry about the words, just use the definition and it should be okay. So for example, number 9, 6 P4. So that comes from here. So 6 is the first number. So you start the 6 on top. And then 6P4. So now on the bottom, you do 6 minus 4. And then you put the factorial afterwards. So again, just like the other problem, if it's a fraction, so you want to cross out, cancel out. So this turns out to be 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1 all over 6 minus 4 is 2. So 2 factorial is 2 times 1. So if you cross out the bottom with the top, It's just 6 times 5 times 4 times 3. It should look familiar, but I don't know. So it turns out to be, excuse me, 360 if you multiply it out. Now combination, let's try to do number 11, 5 combination 2, 5C2. So we start the same way. So the first number 5 on top. In the bottom, we do 5 minus 2 and the second number. So we do the 5 minus 2 factorial, just like permutation, the other one. But we also have another one with the 2 factorial. So you get basically two numbers in the bottom. So let me rewrite that. So you get 3 and 2. So if you change it into, definition, oops, 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1 on top. And in the bottom, we get 3 times 2 times 1. And then you get 2 times 1. So I'm going to cross out 3, 2, 1. So 5 times 4 is 20, and 2 times 1 is 2, so it just turns out to be 10. So a little different, but, just multiplying. Okay, just one more, number 13 on the back side. Okay, so 24P1. So by definition, you start with 24 on top. And then on the bottom, you do 24 minus 1. And because it's P, we don't have a second number. We just have two numbers, which is 24 factorial over 23 factorial. So as you can see, a lot of numbers get canceled out. So it's 24 times 23 times 22 times 21, all the way to a 1. And in the bottom is 23 factorial. So 23 times 22, 21, 1. So everything cancels out starting with the 23, and only thing that's left is 24. So answer is 24. It's like 24 times 1, which is 24. By the way, when you cancel these out, it doesn't become a 0. It becomes like 23 divided by 23 is 1. It's not a 0. We do cross it out, but it's 1. So 24 times 1 is 24. Okay, I think that's good enough. Maybe one more. Number 19. So when you put 28, combination with the 0. So first number is 28. That goes on top. In the bottom, well, we do 28 minus 0 factorial, and then you do 0 factorial. Okay, three numbers, 28 on top, and then two numbers in the bottom, 28 and 0. So it turns out 0 factorial is not 0, it's 1. It's like anything to the 0 power is not 0, anything to the 0 power is 1. So 0 factorial is not 0, it's 1. So you have all these numbers on top, 28 and all the way to 1. In the bottom, you have exactly same numbers, 28 factorial, so they cross out. And the important 0 factorial is still 1. So everything cancels out, and you basically get 1 over 1. I mean, even this cancels out, but so 1 over 1 is still 1. So you can't say 0. There's no zeros when you multiply. It's usually 1. Okay. All right. So have some fun with it. Bye.